With South Africa preparing to play its final group stage match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup against South Korea, many Africans remain divided. For some, the memories of xenophobic attacks against fellow Africans in South Africa are still fresh. As a result, many have chosen not to support Bafana during this tournament. But should a football team carry the burden of a country's political and social problems? In this episode, we examine whether it is possible to condemn xenophobia, stand with its victims, and still support South Africa's football team on the world stage. By the end of this conversation, we hope to encourage Africans to look beyond politics and remember the spirit of sport, unity, and continental pride. Because as many football fans often say, football should bring people together, not drive them apart. Can we support South Africa and still condemn xenophobia? Let's talk about it.
We cannot be supporting Mexico. What does Mexico know about Africa? What does Korea know about Africa? What does Czech Republic know about Africa? But yet, people are there supporting those foreign nations. So I think we should stand firm. We should support South Africa. It's not like we agree about what is happening, but we understand one thing. We have to put the hatred aside, because if we don't put the hatred aside, the foreigners will keep dividing us.
Exactly.
A lot of people support other teams against South Africa recently for this World Cup. And it's something which we don't know how we will feel about them.
Yeah, actually.
All right, say whatever is happening in South Africa at the moment, it's the cause of it. The xenophobic attacks against other Africans. Because if you look at it, when they talk about we don't want migrants, you don't see them burning the shops of maybe Chinese that are there. You're not seeing them burning that of other white foreigners. You only see them targeting nationals of other African countries. You want to name them Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Botswana. And we all know that this is unjust. But the question is it really fair for us to use this as a means to say we are not going to support South Africa in the World Cup? Because historically, Africa has always supported Africa in international events. So this is the first time that we are actually seeing that an African nation is participating in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then Africa is against them. The world might not understand, but we do understand. We understand. I don't know. What do you think?
You know, it's really an interesting thing because, like you said, looking at the history, you see that South Africa has gone through something. Like when we had the apartheid movement, they went through something, and other African countries supported them to get out of that. And now this is happening. So there is a lot of history. There is a lot of pain when it comes to Africans. Mind you, not all Africans that support soccer or support African football. Or
don't say anything about soccer. Let's not start. It's football.
Football.
First of all,
bro, I'm in Canada, so we call it soccer this way.
When you create a sport, you call it what you want to call it. People will not create their sport, call it football. You come and you change the name.
You call it soccer. No, that's going to be a topic for another day. But I'm talking about that is the language we use here. We use soccer. So that's why I'm saying soccer.
Yeah, for this conversation, use football.
It's football or soccer. Let's go. Okay. So when it comes to Africa, football is not just a sport. It has been embedded into our culture. We all grew up. That was the number one sports that we had in our hearts. So football will cut across politics, religion, or people will just support any other. People will just use football to support whatever they want to support, especially those in the internet. So what is happening to South Africa is not going to be left back. A lot of Africans, especially people online that have actually watched their interviews, they are against supporting South Africa because they don't agree with what is going on in their country. And another group of people support Africa or South Africa because of that unity that comes with us when it comes to the sport. Because as an African nation, as a born African, when an African nation is playing in the World Cup, we support them. But it is different in this World Cup because I see a lot of people, even between my friends, I see a lot of people when South Africa was playing against Mexico, I asked, who are you supporting? They said, no, I'm supporting Mexico. I'm like, why? The first question was, don't you know what is happening? I said, I'm aware, but they are still Africa. But people are hurt. Africans are hurt, especially with what is going on there. They think that it is actually wrong for the citizens in South Africa to actually disregard or push away other African countries, nations out of their country. But we are all Africans. That is the mentality that we have. We are all Africans. So we don't see why we should be treated, or immigrants in that nation should be treated as a something like, oh, they are taking our jobs, go back to your country. It is not something that an African will expect from another African. And football now, we relate to that as Africans. So it's
Yeah.
African. We
It's
just try
pushing Africa are thinking more of emotionally rather than logically.
logically, of course.
Yeah, we do understand that there's a lot of emotions when it comes to the xenophobic attacks.
Exactly.
But why are we bringing in politics and football? Why are we mixing them two together? Because if you look at what happened to Nigeria, hence why they did not qualify for the World Cup itself,
Mhm.
because the federation, the Football Federation of Nigeria, were mixed with politics.
Yeah.
So players were not getting paid just because of that issue, and the players decided not to turn up for the national team. And by
Mhm.
the time that the politics had to get out of the football for
Yeah.
them to actually focus on football, it was too late in such a way that they had to play qualifiers. And unfortunately, they lost against DRC Congo just as Cameroon did.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you see politics mixing with football, it destroys the game. And this is the thing which is happening in Africa. For us who are really passionate about football, that we really love football, we enjoy the game, that
Mhm.
we have met people that we have differences with, and we are able to relate with them just because of the game of football.
Exactly.
We don't find it as if it's a good thing for people to hate on the South African football national team in a major competition like like the World Cup, just because of the political atmosphere of the country. Like if you listen to what the captain said, it was like people have hated him on what he's not even said. And he does not understand why people are having this hatred towards South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he does not understand. He knows what is happening, but he does not understand because of the way some of us see it. We see it as football and politics should not mix.
Of
So when people look at it in that direction, like football and politics should not mix, they don't understand why people will hate on a football team because of the political atmosphere of the country.
you're
Even Arsenal Rogers, when in Cameroon, you will see an Amber boy and a police officer sitting together to watch a Cameroon match just for that moment, and then after that, they become enemies.
enemies. Not even that example. You see, when we watch a Cameroon match, especially in the northwest and the southwest, we still get happy. There are still shouts everywhere because it's the love of the game. You see people coming together to just for that particular moment, and that comes to my other point. The emotional aspect of that game is real. Like you see nations coming together and unite. It's because of the emotions. It is not because of logic. And we are from Cameroon where someone misses a penalty, their house in the village is burnt down. And you ask yourself, how does that relate? But you get to understand that there is a lot of emotions attached to the game. And when we as people are watching football, we do not watch it just for the love of the sport. It's something that is embedded. It's a cultural thing, right? So South Africans or other Africans will be like, okay, what is happening to these people? Maybe just maybe they want to try as much as possible to just hit on the fact that that is happening to South Africa. Okay, they want to prove to South, not even prove. I'm not using the right word. They want to show South Africans that okay, because of what is happening in your country, we will not support your team.
So it's more like a protest.
It's more like a protest, exactly. Especially when you watch people online, when you watch the team online, they like the fact that Africa is competing in the World Cup, but they hate the fact that something is going on in Africa that touches the people's heart as football touches people. So they are like, okay, I will do this in protest. I will not support this team in protest. And when fans, supporters are not with you in a football match or in any game, there is a possibility that it might cause a loss.
Yeah,
There
it's okay. It's okay because I'm like that honestly. When the World Cup had started, when South Africa played its first game against Mexico, I did not support South Africa. Even the last game which they drew against the Czech Republic,
yeah.
I did not support South Africa. But I'll be supporting them against Korea for reasons. The first thing is that Koreans are first of all more racist than South Africans. It might be a bit biased, but they can't always look themselves above. In fact, most Asians look themselves more superior to Africans.
Yeah, I
So
get
that's
it.
the first reason. The second reason is the video which I'll play the video here so that people can watch.
We are marching for justice. We are tired of the exploitation that is happening, dehumanizing of other people or othering other people because we call them illegal. And our argument is that the right to dignity is for all people. It's not dependent on the border. It's not dependent on how someone sounds or where they are from. It's a human inherent right. What government is not telling people, or what the politicians are not telling people when they try and scapegoat migrants, is that these issues are an issue that is occurring because of their lack of delivering service to the people, right? It's not happening because a few people cross the border. So that's the truth that we are advocating for.
This demonstration is first and foremost a statement that the few xenophobes that are out there harassing migrants, scapegoating them for all the problems that we are not speaking for all of us. So we are saying, in people from workers' movement, from communities, that we see our problems. Our problem is mass unemployment in this country. It's crisis of factory closures, of deindustrialization. Many mines are closed that used to provide tens of thousands of jobs in our community. The idea that all of that, the 12.4 million unemployed people in this country are because of the migrants, is outrageous. We have problems in this country, and what we are saying is that government must stop scapegoating migrants. We are saying that the hate speech, the violence that is emitted on migrants must come to an end, and there must be an action on the part of those in authorities.
So although you see that there are people marching and protesting against South African or against other Africans, you also see that there are people in that country who do not agree about the treatment of their African brothers. You can actually see that man talking against the xenophobia in the country.
Exactly.
You also see the man at the end who says the same thing, and they blame it on one person, and the person is the government. Because if the government had provided opportunities for South Africans, these South Africans will not be rising against other African countries. I don't know if that's true.
You have a point. You have a point. A lot of us, when we are frustrated, we play the blame game, right? We are all from a struggling nation, and we as a person, we try to make things work for us, even in the midst of the corrupt government that we have. It's corrupt, and it's true.
Yeah, but just like the people said, it's scapegoating.
To me, from my own point of view, it is not like the government called Nigerians or the Africans and say, hey, take this land, take this startup funds, start up this business and run the business, and okay, take this extra money to enforce in your business. These people came in the country, saw the opportunity, and they executed on that opportunity. I see it as fair. It's the same as maybe, okay, we are here, we see an opportunity, we go for it. The other people that are living here will feel like, oh, the government is doing this, the government is doing that. But I don't see it as that. Other South Africans are there in that country that owns businesses, that have lives that they are living, good life. Would they stand and say the country is being, or the government is being bad? Or would they stand and say the government is...
You have to be careful when you use that rhetoric. Because you might, when you say it like that, it means the people who have less opportunities are actually going for that protest.
Isn't that what it always is?
Not necessarily. There are people who are well-to-do, but because of the things that they stand to gain when they put hatred in front of things, it's more. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
So you're talking about personal gain here?
I'm talking about personal gains. And when I'm talking about personal gains, I want to target the politicians themselves. Because you've not seen one politician, or you've seen very few politicians that are coming out to condemn what is happening. And when we talk about condemn, it's not just talking on social media about, or like the president talking about how they should stop the hatred. What has he done to minimize that hatred, to actually do something? You see police officers standing, and normal civilians are beating other people in the streets. They are beating other people in the streets, and the police have not made one single arrest. If the government comes out and says, if we see any injustice being done against another person by a citizen, we don't care if you're South Africans, we will arrest you, put you in prison and charge you. But they've not done that. So who do you think is gaining from this march? Do you think it's the people, the less economically strong people that are benefiting? No. It's the people who are rich. Just in every country, any country that you see that protesting against immigrants and migrants, you actually see that these people are using it as a distraction to get something behind.
Yeah, you are right in that aspect, but the majority of the people fighting are the people that are struggling.
They have manipulated them to join the fight.
They have manipulated them, and to an extent, I'm not accusing anybody. They have manipulated themselves. I get it, because there is actually no jobs to actually say, okay, I have this thing to do in the mornings. If you don't have anything, the idle's man is the devil's workshop. If you don't have anything doing, you must obviously create thoughts that will make you to resort to violence.
The job's not even there, brother.
Just like same as every African country, the jobs are not there. That is why they moved to South Africa, because there are no jobs.
Yeah, but they moved to South Africa because there are no jobs. But the
Yes,
South Africans there, why did the South Africans not occupy the jobs? They left it for the migrants. And if you even look at the majority of the migrants there are business owners. They are
exactly.
the ones creating jobs for the locals. Like there's this video which I watched, which this guy, he's a Nigerian. He
Okay,
has a hairdressing business. In the
exactly.
video, he's actually saying that this hairdressing business, I bought it from a Chinese person who this Chinese man never employed any South Africans. I bought this business. I have employed 23 South Africans, but you guys are here closing my shop. So when you close the shop, what will happen to these other 23 South Africans? They will not have a job.
That is exactly my point. You get it. It is not like the government came and handed over these things to the immigrants. It was there. Okay, it was there. The opportunities are always there. It's just for them to see how they can manage to do it. Like you said, hatred got into their minds, and they feel like, okay, it is because of this group of people that is they are trying to justify their actions, what is happening. I don't buy the fact that in a country people have less opportunities. Especially we are both here. We are here. This is a good example. You're there, I'm here. There are a lot of people, white people, saying that, oh, they blame the government because they have a lot of benefits for immigrants and not themselves. And who are those people that always say that? You see, that is the people that
They're the ones on the benefits.
exactly you get it. If you see a well-off South African, the person will not really not have problem with what is happening. The same as there are people that have problem with what is happening in the country, and there are people that do not, and there are people that are just neutral. Or okay, which one happens benefits them?
I'm there for the people who are against what's happening in South Africa. I'm there for the South Africans.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm supporting South Africa against Korea. One of the reasons. Because we can condemn the majority,
yeah.
but we forget that the minority also suffer.
The minority always suffers.
So I am standing for South Africa in the World Cup, not because of the majority. I'm standing for the few people who are out there trying to fight this fight against xenophobia. The South Africans who are trying to fight the fight against xenophobia.
Yeah,
Because they understand that Africa has to be one. And if this minority understand, why can the whole Africa not just be like, fine, South Africans are behaving like this, but we have to support them in the World Cup. We cannot be supporting Mexico. What does Mexico know about Africa? What does Korea know about Africa? What does Czech Republic know about Africa? But yet, people are there supporting those foreign nations. So I think we should stand firm. We should support South Africa. It's not like we agree about
what is
happening, but we understand one thing. We have to put the hatred aside, because if we don't put the hatred aside, the foreigners will keep dividing us.
exactly? And like you said, in as much as this thing is going on in that country, there are people benefiting from it. Like every war, there are people benefiting from it. So you just gave an example of the government or the police force is not doing anything. To an extent, true. To an extent, not true. You get, because I believe that just like it started, or just like what happened in 2019, it actually reduced. The government has its way to handle things this, because it was not prolonged till now. The government actually did something about the xenophobia attack in 2019. I think, yes, it was 2019, right?
Yeah.
They actually did something about it. So just like everything that arises, it has to reach a certain level, or in a certain a certain intensity before maybe there is full control of the government coming in. And also, I'm an African. I always support Africa in any match that is going on, especially in this competition, the World Cup competition. I always support Africa. So no matter what is going on in South Africa, the reason that I will support South Africa is just because of that Bafana taste of what they have always given us, and that African oneness mentality that is in my head. I have Mexico friends. When we were watching the match, like you said, football brings unity, but we were rooting against Like, he was rooting against Mexico. I was rooting for South Africa. Sorry, he was rooting for Mexico. I was rooting for South Africa, just because of the love for football. It's not like we were enemies. You get it? So that is what the game brings. There is a lot of emotion. You cannot play football without emotions. It doesn't happen, and it will cross against religion. You see, prophets are even mentioning football in prophetic stories. They say, "Okay, I see this nation winning. Wait, watch out!" It crosses against all of those things. Across all of those things. So football is an important sport.
Two questions before we end.
Yeah.
The first question: South Africa versus Korea. What's the scores?
I support South Africa though. Korea, I'm seeing a draw or 1-0 for South Africa.
For South Africa.
Yeah. South Africa will win.
I'm for South Africa. Korea will win 2-0. Question: Who's going to win the World Cup?
Oh man, see, the matches so far has been so interesting that you cannot really sit and be like, I'm seeing a lot of nations winning the World Cup, but I will still root for Africa. France. That's me.
France, Africa.
I will still root for Africa, bro. We all know what we are talking about. That is not. I'll still root for Africa. So, watching and in the comment section, tell us who you will support in the upcoming South Korea match, so that you get to involve in this conversation. Let us know your take on what is happening in South Africa, and what do you think? Like, should you support South Africa in the football games because of what is happening, or should you not support? Who do you actually think will win the World Cup?
Portugal.
For real? Why?
I don't know. I'm just choosing a team and staying with the team.
Okay.
I'm supporting all African nations first. Then secondly, because I'm in England, I'll support England.
Okay.
But then if you ask who do I think will win, I'll say Portugal.
Are you choosing a player or just the country?
I'm choosing the country. I'm choosing the country based on the midfield. Yeah, they have the best midfield in the competition, according to me.
That's according to you. Well,
yeah, according to me. But that's why I'm saying, yes, they've drawn their first match, but we've seen teams lose their first matches, and then win the cup. Spain did it in 2010, so I don't see why Portugal will not win.
Football is a game of surprises, so who knows? Maybe an African nation might take it.
Yeah, maybe Ghana will win.
Yeah, maybe Ghana will win. So let's root for Africa and root for South Africa and stop the hate. Stop the hatred that is going on in the world. It is everywhere. It's not only in South Africa.
Thank you for that. We end here for today and catch up again another time.
Another time, bro. Nice.
What's up?
Peace.